Hey everybody, welcome to Disneyopolis. I'm Bryan and we are back for another fantastic show. My pal Paper Duffy's here. He's all excited because we're starting a brand new series which is This Week in Disney. It's where we're going to take a look back and a look forward at what's gone on and what's coming in Disney history. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. January 1st, the first day of our week that we're looking at. In 1959, the Fantasyland Autopia opened, sponsored by the Richfield Oil Company. Opens in Disneyland. Again, that's in 1959. In 1997, on January 1st, at Epcot, both musical groups, Offkilter and the British Invasion, debut. Now, of course, you know, a Celtic rock band, Offkilter, was they performed in a stage between the UK and Canadian pavilions in Epcot, and the British Invasion, they played 1960s British songs in a garden tucked away in the United Kingdom pavilion. Of course, they've both since gone their way. Or how do the kids do it these days? Anyway, so that was January 1st during those years. On January 2nd in 1996, today is World of Motion's final day of operation at Epcot. It went its way. And then an opening day attraction from the very beginning at Epcot. Visitors traveled on an Omnimover through humorous technology themed scenes. If you get an opportunity, go check out some of the World of Motion videos you'll find right here on our very own YouTube. Test Track, of course, would eventually take its place, also sponsored by GM. In 2001, on January 2nd, Disney unveils its Grand Californian Hotel. Now, this was really anticipated, and it offered a few hundred guests a preview of the high-end rooms that were to be opening, and the service the company owns will transform the updated Anaheim vacation spot. Now, this hotel was to be the first in the United States to be located inside a Disney theme park. The Grand Californian Hotel, of course, we know features two full-service restaurants, which are Storytellers Cafe and Napa Road, and of course a snack bar as well, Whitewater Snacks. And then, although the grand opening was in February, the first paying guests were welcomed on this day, 2001, January 2nd. On January 4th, in 1937, the first cells, CELS, of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs are taken into the Disney Ink and Paint department at the studio on Hyperion Avenue in California. Walt wanted the film completed because he wanted it to be a Christmas time release. In 2011, on January 4th, at approximately 6:30 a.m., Disney's newest cruise ship, the Dream, arrived at port, making the 130,000-ton ship official. And of course, it can carry over 4,000 passengers. Even Port Canaveral put in $32 million in improvements to its facilities just to accommodate the Disney Dream, which set sail on its maiden voyage later on in the month. On January 6th in 2008, on This Week in Disney History, today, January 6, 2008, was the last day of existence of Disney MGM Studios in Florida. Oh, as we all know, all the cool kids still call it MGM. At that point in time, Disney World Park was then called Disney's Hollywood Studios. Again, I'm a diehard. It'd always be MGM to me. And of course, in 2008, on January 7th, which is the very next day, it was now officially called Disney's Hollywood Studios. And in news that is happening now, this week in Disney, on January 2nd, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror attraction at Disney California Adventure is no more. Oh, had its final day of operations. The ride is getting a makeover. It's going to be more sci-fi fantasy themed. No word yet that I've heard about what's going to happen at Walt Disney World, but at Disney California Adventure, it is going to be rethemed. It'll reopen this summer as a rethemed Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. And with the success of Guardians of the Galaxy and the upcoming movie, it's timed really well. And it'll feature characters from the Marvel movie series. It would be very, very cool if we could somehow get Chris Pratt and Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel and Zoe Saldana and the whole bunch there to experience the ride for themselves. That would be very cool. On January 4th this week at the Consumer Electronics Show, which takes place every year in Las Vegas, it is announced that Panasonic will move from a projector supplier to an official technology partner of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. Panasonic's projector technology and other hardware is already in use at several of the attractions in the Disney US theme parks, including things like Haunted Mansion at Magic Kingdom Park and the Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage at Disneyland Park. The alliance with Disney marks Panasonic's move away from just being a technology supplier to being a formal partner and connected solutions supplier. And then the other big news that is coming isn't really news yet, but watch this space. Disney, there are some rumblings that Disney may at some point, according to both Bloomberg and Barron's websites, Disney may at some point shed its ESPN unit. Now, if you follow Disney for any length of time, you're well aware that for a long time, during some very lean years where the theme parks were concerned, and some very lean years where everything was concerned at Disney, ESPN was the cash cow. The bulk of its dollars, as a matter of fact, during the late 90s and early 2000s came from the folks in Bristol, Connecticut. But now, as people are beginning to cut the cord, as it were, and go with streaming video services or just do away with it altogether, ESPN's suffering some pretty heavy losses in revenue. And so it's starting to be a drain on the company as a whole. Bob Iger, brilliant man that he was, over the past few years has been able to reinvigorate the cash flow of Disney with its purchases of things such as Pixar, Lucasfilm, and Marvel. We know how that's all turned out in overhauling the studios and making it very, very profitable. As a matter of fact, uber profitable. And they're talking about 2017 could match or exceed 2016's output as far as its financial output. And you have some people like John Malone of Liberty Media fame and the old, I believe it was the old Cablevision, but he's talking about that it would probably be a good idea for Disney to shed ESPN. And then that brings up the next cog in this big wheel, this big machine that is Disney. Disney would merge with, or in the financial parlance anyway, be acquired by Apple. I personally don't know how I feel about that. I think Disney as a standalone company makes a lot more sense, but then you've got bigger entities such as AT&T, a telecommunications company, acquiring Time Warner and the synergies that could bring. There's some arguments for and some arguments against. Personally, I like the idea that maybe ESPN might be spun off because, before it never really faced a whole lot of competition. Now it's getting, competition from 21st Century Fox and other regional networks and things like that. So I can see where that might be a thing. But Disney going under the Apple umbrella, Apple's got problems of its own right now. For the first time in many years, the iPhone sales are down. And, as is so often the case, when you get competition, just like with ESPN and competition from things like Fox Sports and others, now Apple's getting competition from entities like Samsung and Google and others. So again, it's speculated that they may sell off or spin off ESPN, along with maybe even ABC television. That I can't see. But stranger things have happened, and to be fair, nobody asked my opinion, though they should. Anyway, long story short, well, as I said before, watch this space. We'll keep an eye on things for you. John Malone even went so far as to say Apple might be interested in merging with Disney after the split, if for no other reason than maybe putting Bob Iger in control of a joint company, which would allow him to serve out beyond what his contract already says it was. So we'll see. We will see. So that is This Week in Disney here on Disneyopolis. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you so much for getting new subscribers, it seems like weekly, and we appreciate you. As always, we'd like you to give us a thumbs up down below. Click the little thumb button if you would. And if you're not a subscriber and you just stumbled on this wonderful channel that we call Disneyopolis, we'd love to have you as part of the Disneyopolis family. That way you can actually get some updates when they happen, that we've got a new show. So we appreciate you showing up. Again, my name is Bryan. This is Disneyopolis. We are everything Disney all the time, and we'll see you next time.